Welcome everyone. So I've been playing Ace locally for the past 2 weeks, and we'll talk about my thoughts over the last 2 weekends of playing and my matchups. We'll also show off my deck profile in the video here. Release weekend is always a little unique because some people are still learning, playing odd things, so it's hard to predict what the decks will be. First event, I went 3-2. Second event, I went 4-1, losing in the final round, and just got top 8 at our case event. I lost to the same guy I lost to in the final rounds of locals in top 8, which felt bad, but we keep moving. I used 2 different builds. We'll take a look at the first one here that I played in the first 2 events, then made some slight changes for the case event. I also tweet out my deck profiles, so if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'll link in video description. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, over 88% of my viewers aren't. And if you find this content of value, if you could do me a favor and subscribe, it helps me a ton to work with other content creators, and that means the more value I can bring. Thank you so much, and let's dive into release day. Release day, round 1, I won versus Luffy. They played a ton of rush, which was actually a bit of a problem, but I was still able to pull it off. Wasn't expecting this matchup at all. Round 2, I played against Iceberg. They built up their board before swinging to prevent me from trying to clean it up while their Dawn was low. In this game, I might have focused too much on clearing their board, or where if I was aggro, I likely would have won turns earlier, but do not sleep on the Iceberg. Round 3, Arlong, I won. There was an instance where he could have won. I had to play Ninebeard and hope to not lose. He didn't swing and played Big Mom. I did math and realized I could win. There was a misplay where I should have played Marco at a point in the game and didn't, but we won. Round 4, I lost to Zoro. He was playing Rush Zoro, which hit me early to 3. I also had 3 rad beams get stuck in my hand, which is why it's important to use them earlier if you won't have Dawn later so they don't get wasted. I was down to 1 life and 1 blocker and tried to bluff at the end, and it didn't work. Round 5, I lost to Smoker. I lost by 1k counter. Always feels bad. I played around Isho, and they didn't have him. I also could have saved a Marco, but opted to keep a Flame Emperor in hand instead. I possibly misplayed 2. I could have cleaned board and kept an ace in hand, a Dawn active for another Radical Beam at the end, but I was hoping to give me a character. And I played ace for the extra swing, and to minus the characters when I could have just swung big and won on the clapback. Overall, there was never a moment I wanted round table. I didn't face any yellow. Never was there a moment where I was like, I want Red Hawk right now, because I considered like swapping out the round table for Red Hawk. And so I was thinking through changes, like I could remove these 2 cards. Seaquake felt good. There wasn't a time I wanted a Fire Fist either, because I was like, do I want to add Fire Fist? So before making any changes, I wanted to test it again a week later with people, when people will be more accustomed to the format. Our locals averages roughly 30 people, so we play 5 rounds, with a number of our attendees having regional top 32s. So it's a very sweaty locals. Round 1, I played against Katakuri. I won. Double Marco, once going to 0, was the key for me to win. Round 2, W against Lucci. He didn't have Isho, and I took too much damage, but later I won. So round 3 versus Whitebeard, I won. It was a huge Marco off. He went all in with his Marco, and I got a counter off of it, which let me win. Counter out of life, 2 OP. Round 4, I played against Lucci again. I got a W. I was looking really good, and then at the end, I got 2 Flame Emperors out of life that sealed the match, so I got to pop the last 2 that could possibly swing. There was an instance where I could have swung an ace when he swung 9k on 7, but for a second, I confused my leader, and I thought it cost me 3 cards to save it. This would have allowed me to win earlier. 7-drop ace was important for this matchup. Dropping their blockers and making Bluno poppable is big. And then round 5, Whitebeard, finals, I lost. It was an insane game, but he had Otama as their OP for swinging 12k, Whitebeard, pop Marco. There were 2 moments that I could have tried for game and just hoped he didn't have enough counter. The guy I played against is a very good Beard player. He has like 3 regional top 16 with it, so can't be too upset. Now, I knew the deck was solid. You know, we've been testing this for a while. Still no use case for round table except against Whitebeard to try to out the second Tim drop. I outed the first one, which would have been big for me. I decided to cut round table, Shanks, and Red Hawk and add in Seaquake going into the case tournament. Seaquake is clutch in the Zoro matchup. Fire Fist might also be great for the matchup. They just swing too many 7s before you can establish board, and that is rough. This was a profile that I had played for the case tournament. I opted for 2 Seaquake because I felt like there'd be just more Zoro and that this might have value. This card has no value in the Whitebeard matchup either, which is definitely something to think about. But it is, of course, at worst a 1K counter. And if you can get rid of some of those smaller drops on Zoro early, it's pretty solid. One thing I noticed was I wanted more minus power abilities, so I might test Brook out again because Otama was just never in my hand, or even up the Ace. I know a lot of people have been playing for Ace, but Ace did get a bit clunky. Now the deck list, now the rounds I played for top 8, here's the deck list that I brought. Round 1, I went against Katakuri. I won. I went first. Round 2, I went first against Scarp, and I won. Round 3, I went second against Croc, and I won. I had 0 practice against Croc or Blue, and he could bottom deck my blockers because of the Croc leader. So my goal in going into the matchup was to get 9-beard, so he couldn't get me hawked or hit by Croc. And then round 4, I played against Lucci. I lost. I got greedy. I mulliganed into a hand of all events. That's on me. I did have a slightly playable hand. I had like 1 Marco, an Otama, and some events. And then I just got all events and didn't get to play. So I pretty much got blown out of that game. Round 5, I played against Zoro. I won. I went second. I had to go for game. I didn't attack their Marco at all in this matchup, and I went low on life early from Rush Zoro again. I got 9-beard and then had to go for game the next turn with 2 Marcos, and they had 3 life but 2 in hand. I knew one was guard point, and they had a Marco on field, the blocker. I had a Flame Emperor and played it to pop the Marco, and then I swung 7 with the Marco, got the guard point, 1 in hand, so I knew my next hit would connect. So I swing with the other Marco for 7. He rad beams out of life for the trigger. And so he still had 1 card in hand, 6K on the leader. I push 8 with no Dawn active for them. And then so they go to 0 life, and I swung 11 with Beard for game. And then round 6, I played the undefeated. I lost. They were playing Zoro. He got big board early. And the Sweet Quakes were very good. I got to see both of them, but they just couldn't get me there. And then we went into top 8, and I lost to the same Beard player that I lost to in the finals of my locals in best of 3, 2-1. Thoughts overall, I could see me playing 3 Seaquake because it helps with Zoro. Still up in the air about Fire Fist. There wasn't a point I really wanted Shanks, but Jet Pistol and Flame Emperor are great out of life. However, they don't do much for the Zoro matchup because they're pretty much all 7, the ones that you care about. Next week, I'll be testing Striker, and I will be in the regional event on the 15th, and we'll try to stream. So if you're interested in seeing that, definitely be sure to be subscribed, and I'll try to get that stream going. But yeah, and I'll also release a video just talking about my thoughts, like, because locals versus like an actual competitive event, there is like a slight difference because you do just try to anticipate like what your matchups are going to be or like where your weakness in your deck lies and try to like comfort that. And hope that to just get you across the finish line for those tops. But thank you all, as always, for watching. I appreciate you.